How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all well. Smiles in the building, and I'm just about made it, as you can see from the eyes. Why are you laughing at, Lee?
Just about made it. It's unbelievable. I'll tell you what, I thought you got back to Turkey, your brains had run out your head. I really did like that. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, this man, by the way, in the comments, has no shame. That's all I'm saying. Just no shame.
I've got a lot of shame, man. I've got a lot of shame. But we haven't got...
You look so ashamed.
But I don't know how you want me to look. I've woken up alarmed at being at being late once again. So I've rushed and I'm here, and now apparently I've got no shame.
52 minutes late.
Nothing. Well, yeah, okay.
I've got a phone call.
TJ's, he was about to be like, no. Oh, actually, yeah, it isn't an hour late. You realise
technically it's 47 minutes, and it took us 5 minutes to get there.
We'll let you off the 3. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame you never let us off anything, isn't it? Like, you know. But I've gone back to bed. I've got the phone. He rang up. He goes, all right, can you still do it?
Because I need to
get up again, Turkey.
At that point, was I late enough that the show's done, or was it just enough time?
I didn't even ask if the show was done or anything. I was just like, "Are you all right to do it now?" You know what I mean? Like,
you called in the nick of time. Like, Ryan gave me the login details, and we were just going to run it, the three of us. We were just going to just
that's right.
That's it. Lee just went, "F it, let's just do it." And then you pulled through at the very end. 98th minute goal to pull it back to 5-1 down is basically
consolation.
Yeah.
Consolation.
Pointless late goal.
And I'm dancing around like Giroud after that 3-3 Bournemouth. That's what I knew. Telling me, get back to the middle, mate. Get back to
We've all jumped into the stand. He's got here. Like,
scorpion kick celebrations for making it at the end, but there we go.
I'm here, and I know we ain't got as much time as usual left, but we ain't got as much to talk about as usual. No preview. A preview will be coming next week. We'll be live on Tuesday, I believe, at 7 p.m. So make sure you're there for that one. Another live from the Forever Arsenal team. But we're here. Newcastle, Carabao Cup exit expected. Hope built up leading up to it. Rightly so. City 5-1. Newcastle lost 2 of the last 3 at home. But all of that hope, gone. Out of the Carabao Cup. Lee, you was over there. I know a lot of fans that went, and there was a renewed sense of belief because of the Newcastle form, because of that 5-1. I mean, how was the mood when you was like in and around the stadium before kickoff?
Listen, guys, I'm going to really tell you, like, I had no real aspirations that we'd win the game, but when I got up there, when you're talking to every Newcastle fan, and I mean this sincerely, every Newcastle fan says, "Oh, we're worried." You know what I mean? You get the first goal. I couldn't believe how worried they were. Yeah, they were nervous, and I don't know if that would have portrayed onto the pitch if we would have got the first goal. I think that you know, it all happened in 1 minute as far as I was concerned. You know, there was even the goal that they got when Isaac scored. You could see there was it was joy of relief that they'd scored. You know what I mean? Then it was taken away from us, and then if Odegaard puts that in, who knows? But once they scored, it was done. For me, you know, there ain't many times I can walk out of a ground and I feel that I've been let down by the players, right? But that was one of them. Not one of them performed. Not one of them. They was not. And listen, Newcastle played well, but there was, you know, like in tennis, you get unforced errors like that. You know, it was like that. Yeah. It was like that with our players. You know, Saliba misplacing passes, missed kicks from Gabriel, the midfield Party and Rice just giving the ball away without no real pressure. The front three, well, the less said about that, the better. Just defensively, Raya, you know what I mean? Completely like, you know, because of, I don't know if it was a big game, completely lost the plot. You know, I look at that and you think this is a good dress rehearsal for what's going to come in Europe and whatever, like, you know, use it for that. Oh, it's a big worry. And I just felt very, very let down. Now, I don't know if the players felt deflated after the transfer window like a lot of fans did. I don't know. But after a 5-1 win against Man City and the way we played, I felt that there'll be more energy going into the team and all that. And then to make it even worse, guys, you know what I mean? I'm going to say it now. I get onto the website and you've got Mikel saying the players were tired. You know, we've played 3 games a week since December. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, is he winding me up? You've known all of that. And you've had a window to sort that out. I feel very, very let down by the club in the last few days. The windows really got me because I looked at Liverpool yesterday and by the way, Mo Salah was absolutely awful in that game. And I'm thinking, God, typical, like, you know, have an awful game. But a couple of magic moments from him and, you know, wins them the game. And then I'm looking at their bench and they're bringing on players and we've got nothing. And you're asking us to compete with that. And, you know, they can rotate on Saturday, rest a few players and everything like that. Taking players off, all right, you know, they deserved that when they got the win. But look at the players that they've got in their midfield and also up front wise. You know, and people are criticising us for, you know, not being up there. And listen, I'm going to stick up for a little bit. As we've got our best player missing, and we keep racking up some results, but unfortunately, that result yesterday, that performance, there's too many of them in Mikel reign, if I'll be honest. And also, you know that we might go on a run of 4 or 5 games now, but there's that performance, whether it be a Champions League or a league game coming, and I'm sorry, like, you know, I feel very, very let down by the club.
Yeah, you feel it because we have been again, but I won't get into that yet. Jordan, James, we watched it together. Obviously, it's a couple sleeps after that. It's not the morning before, but Jordan,
only one for me.
Oh yeah, travel back. What time did you end up getting back?
I got home about 5:45 in the morning.
You know.
A round of applause for the Arsenal fans that made that.
Oh, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable, James. I've got to say that unbelievable. And I'm going to say it now, the fans, it weren't like droves of them leaving after the, you know, with 10 minutes to go and all that. I left with about 5 minutes to go because I didn't want to be in there seeing them celebrating and all that. Like, but, you know, like I looked at Tottenham's yesterday at Liverpool. And it was like half empty by the end of the game. But Arsenal fans stuck there, maybe because they couldn't get home. I don't know, like, but they did. And all credit to them. All credit to them, like, you know.
Yeah, as always. Jordan, how you feeling? Couple days off the back of it, but you know, all of us predicted that we was gonna go out in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't make it any easier because, like Lee says, it feels like the club has let us down again.
I think the first thing, Turkish, is something that I noticed. We're recording this the day after the Liverpool Tottenham second leg, is how little Tottenham and Arsenal seem to give their second legs. They seem to both just go out with a little bit of a whimper. I mean, the Spurs had a lead. They actually were in front going into their second leg. And it was just disappointing just from a kind of football point of view. It's a semi-final of a cup. And I just don't feel that Tottenham and Arsenal really kind of stuck it on their opponents in both legs. I think the other thing for me disappointing that needs a lot of scrutiny is Mikel Arteta's cup record. We've mentioned it on this podcast before, and I'm bringing Europe into this as well. His cup record is atrocious. It's really, really bad. And if you're one of those Arsenal fans that feels like, look, all that matters at this part of the process is majors. I know that you're in the camp, Turkish, of, you know, we didn't sign up for 5 years for a League Cup. We should be delivering the big trophies. Yeah. And that's not an unfair perspective to take.
I also said I'll take biscuits too.
Well, I was just going to say, but but for those fans that really are looking at the majors, if to win a Premier League or to win a Champions League is not easy. They're hard trophies to win, right? You can have a great squad, great money. They're hard trophies to win. But if you can't win the big two over 5 years, you've got to at least pick up some of the little ones. Get an FA Cup here or there, a League Cup here or there. You know, even go deep. I don't have off the top of my head here, but if we just look at his record in the cup competitions, it's not like he's getting to finals and semis on a regular basis. That wouldn't be great. Would still be killing him if he got to finals and lost. He's not even getting to finals of cup competitions. He's not even getting to. You look at his record in recent domestic competitions. All right, there's been a few Man Cities in there. We've had Liverpool, I think, in there. But so what? So what? For him to not be getting to the latter part of cup competitions, for me, it's just in 5 years. It's not acceptable, man. His cup record needs a lot of scrutiny. And I also wanted to mention the fact that Newcastle seem to have our number, right? And he hasn't found a way to deal with Isak and Gordon in a way that he has found a way to deal with Haaland and Bernardo Silva, or Haaland and Foden. We seem to kind of do okay against that front line or that attack, but he hasn't tactically worked out yet how to deal with Isak, and he's going to have to. We've got to play them again. 3 games and no goal. Really? And every single time we play Newcastle, Isak has his way. He has to really, you know, I don't want it to be a case of Newcastle are our bogey team. No, work it out. Work it out. You can't be playing Newcastle every year and we're all every year thinking, oh, it's Newcastle, it's our bogey team. Nah, man, your job is to work it out. So we can chat about the club, the players. We discussed it on the watch along, how poor they were. But I'm looking at Mikel Arteta now. I'm just like, you got to do better, bro. You got to do better. My final point before I yield to James is we're now at both the cup competitions. I think the league is done, but we'll see if if Everton can do something against Liverpool. But we're now in the territory of what does an acceptable season from here on in look like? So from here to May, what does an acceptable season look like? Is an acceptable season, if there's no trophies, let's assume we're not going to win the European Cup or the Premier League. If there's no trophies, what does an acceptable season look like? Because I'll be honest.
If there's no trophies, it's not acceptable.
Well, that's a fair opinion to have. I don't see it as binary as that. For me, there are small wins. If there's no trophies, there are small wins that can give me hope going into next season. Can you get to a European Cup final? That's progress for Arsenal as a football club. Can you push Liverpool to the last week of the season? That would be a small win. People might say that's a loser mentality. I don't think it is. I think it's looking to try and eke out small wins from what would be a trophyless season. So that's my question now. From here till May, what is a successful, or no, not what is an acceptable season? Because I've got half my eye now on next year, because I'm thinking you should be doing deals now. So by the time the summer comes and the season finishes, it's signings. Do the work now to make sure they come game 1 next season. And some people will say you're giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm just being realistic. I
think the club have done that.
Yeah, well,
I think the club have. Sorry, because you never ever get this confirmed. No one would ever say that this is what's happened. But I think the club have thrown the season. I think the January window showed us that. You had Havertz on his knees, Martinelli, Trossard playing every game, Sterling looking a disaster, a 17-year-old stepping up, Gabby Jesus out for 9 months, and Bukayo Saka, having had surgery on his hamstring, and they didn't sign a forward, not even a loan player. And we're hearing things like, people in the club are sort of, actually praising the standing director of football because, or whatever the job is, because, he kept the longer term vision in mind. And I kept arguing that you didn't have to sign a striker to make this squad better this season. We need a winger and we need 2, maybe 3 different central midfield profiles. Didn't do any of it. Sometimes there's only so much you can do as fans because the club are dictating the way they're seeing it. Now, that might be seen as really defeatist. That might be seen as like, James, come on. Like they're not throwing it away. They're just... 2 things can be true. They're looking at the long term and they're, also, still fighting for now. But I think the transfer window sucked a lot of the kind of energy out of that Man City win. I'm sorry. I think it did. I
think you're right in how you're thinking, but you're wrong in what it is. They haven't thrown anything away. They're on track. Champions League football is on track, and
Right.
that's what it is. To us, it's they've thrown it away. To them, it's we're on track, mate.
Basically, their ambitions in the mud is what you're saying.
Of course, it is. Of course, I mean, we didn't need much more indication than we did. But I understand, be excited and get him round this corner because they have been different. But that remember, I've always said they've been different. But is it because be excited, or is it because we were at the Champions League for so many years, and you have to move different because it's your business as well as your football club? And I said, when we get back to square one, we'll see. And they failed in the summer and they failed in January. So we're hearing a lot of talk about unprecedented summer coming up. As mentioned on the Big Six, I mean, you lot are all old enough to remember the good old war chest. That's the same thing as an unprecedented summer. War chest. When Mikel talks about the right profile, that's when Wenger used to say, we're only going for world-class talent and then go bring in 2 youngsters and a 33-year-old with a broken back. Like, this club have done this to man for a long time.
I'm bored, Turkish. I'm bored of it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And you know that I'm more.
No, I'm with you.
Let's put it this way. The PR stuff, I'm the type of person it gets to more than most. I'm the type of person to go, all right, this is what they're saying. Let's see, blah, blah, more hopeful. You're, if you don't mind me saying, more the type to go, what a load of nonsense. More often than not, you're proven right. But even I saw that report and I tweeted, I'm tired, Robbie.
Yeah.
The other thing is, guys, they can't keep feeding you this crap, right? And I'll tell you why. Like, I've been on board with Arsenal for the last few years. You know what I mean? I've seen improvements and whatever, and I felt like, okay, we're learning, we're getting there. This season, right? We've had a chance. We've not done anything in the transfer window. In the summer, I sort of let that go because I felt like, well, you know, what on the back of last season, I get that. Then come this January one, and people have gone, well, this will show us our ambition. This will show everything you need if you want to have a chance of winning the league. And when you say the team and the club's thrown it away, I'm with you, Jordan. I have as well, because what I want to see now is like, right, okay, this is all now for next season, right? Yeah, you're learning, like, you know, can you chase down at Liverpool? Can you keep in contact with Liverpool when you haven't got the players that you've got? Can you dig out results when you haven't got the players you've got? But my God, when you've got the players next year, Mikel, you better deliver, because if you don't deliver, you are gone. You are gone now. And that's how I feel now, like, you know what I mean? He has put himself up there now, right on the chopping block. And if he's not successful next season and the club don't do nothing, it's at everybody. And I don't care what I'll tell you another thing that's wound me up, boys, really wound me up. You know, all the pictures to Dubai. And what have they done? What have they done in there that wound me up? They put pictures of Saka out there, like, you know what I mean? And what's that's telling you is, oh, like, in your little head that is trying to tell you, oh, he's nearly coming back. He's nearly coming back. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful what they're doing, like, you know what I mean? Because he's nowhere near coming back, right, at the end of it, right? And they're putting it up there to just try and pacify, oh, we haven't done anything, but look, Saka's nearly close and all that, like, you know, Ben White being pictured and all that, like, you know. The club try to brainwash you into things that you ain't. And then I'm not having it no more, like, you know. And as Dan said on his channel, we said yesterday, like, you know what I mean? Like, the 49 song should be 49, 49, new merchandise. That's what it should be, you know what I mean? Like, 45, 45, I say new merchandise, because that's what they do. Bringing it out, all out again yesterday, right? And I look at it now, and I'm going to talk about Dubai now because it gets to me. Look at Liverpool yesterday. Who won the League Cup last year? Liverpool. What are Liverpool doing now? They're in the League Cup final, and they're probably going to go and win the league. 2 years before that, what were they? In the League Cup final, like, you know. What are we doing? We're going out in the first rounds of it, like, you know what I mean? And every single time, well, we and me and I'm with it. I'm part of this, and I'm wrong. Oh, that's all right. We haven't got a squad strong enough. We ain't really. It's not. We've got bigger fish to fry. We got this and we got that. And then further down the line, we fail and we fail. And when it comes to the January transfer window, when we are short, when you've got Declan Rice telling you you're short, you've got the manager telling you short, we do absolutely nothing about it, right? So we're Liverpool this weekend. We're Liverpool this weekend, playing in the FA Cup at Plymouth. Right? They're not on the beach having an holiday and having a reward for it. Now, people go to me, yeah, what about Dubai last year? Look at all the success of it, like, yeah. It was a winter break last year. It was a winter break, which was officially for every single club, right? Not because you've gone out of the FA Cup. We should be in the FA Cup playing at home to Leicester this week. No, they're all having an holiday. So what reward is that like? You know what I mean? Like Liverpool ain't on holiday this week. Liverpool then got to go on Wednesday and play their local rivals for the title while we're sitting on the beach playing tiddlywinks. You know what I mean? Like, or having a game of pitch and putt. It ain't on.
I
Do
actually
not
think
reward failure.
if I can cut in there, Lee, I actually think you make a really good point. I don't want to be too over the top about it. I get what you're saying. Like last week, you're right. Sorry, last season, you're right. I think Arsenal didn't play football for 3 weeks. And I think it's because there was the 2-week break anyway, and we were out of one cup or whatever. But you're right, because there was that break, you know, they were away for so long in January. It was like, you know what? Fine. You may as well get away because there's such a massive break. And you may as well try and recharge. And also the season before, they challenged for a title they weren't expecting. And, you know, we didn't feel quite as far off the title race this time last year. I might be wrong. I know what you mean. This one feels... Look, I've got no doubt it'll be beneficial for the players, and that's the most important thing, right? That's beneficial for the players, they come back and be better. But I know what I mean. This one feels a touch more insulting. This one feels a touch more like, you're right. Like, basically, you're out. You're out there because you should be playing a game this weekend, and you're not. Like, it feels a bit more like, and look, it might be beneficial. And that's the important thing, but I get what you mean on the back of sort of going out the cup the way we did. You know, the Man United defeat was a disaster. We haven't made up any ground in the Premier League title race. No signings come in. It does feel a little bit more like, come on, like, but maybe that's just me being really petty about it and whatever.
James, I understand on the other side of it that they need a break and they need a rest and everything like that. I get that, like, you know what I mean? They do need that, like, you know, and they need to recharge their batteries. But let's put yourself in that dressing room, right? Come on, we've got to beat Man United today. Like, yeah. But if we don't, we're off to Dubai. I'm not saying that they do, but like it's in there, isn't it? And also when you're telling people week in, week out, oh, we need a break, we're jaded, we're this and we're that, right? You know, all of a sudden, you've got Mikel Arteta saying, "Oh, he needs this," and like, "Oh, Kai Havertz is running on fumes." You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, like, you know what I mean? It's
if I can, we mentioned Dubai there. I mean, we haven't really talked about the Newcastle game at all because what is there to say? We were out muscled, we were out fought, we were everything. I mean, I'm with you. It was one of the most disappointing performances since, funnily enough, Newcastle away back in November. I think they just have our number. I think they are physically fantastic. And one of the things we do, and we did this to City, is we just totally overpowered them and bullied them. And I saw the title of your fan cam, Turkish, it was bullied. You know, we got bullied the other way. So they're definitely one of the sides we can't live with in that sense. But you then looked at the team and you realize, man, there's a lack of technical quality out there a little bit as well. And you kind of start to realize this Arsenal team does need quite a lot of work, which is why I found January very unforgiving. So then, okay, these PR kind of reports come out about.
Sorry to cut you there, James. Sorry, remember your point. I don't know if I accept this premise that they're more powerful than us. Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Partey, Rice. You know, Havertz is a physical guy. Why are we getting out bullied when we've got guys? We've got 5 or 6 foot plus guys.
Because I don't know size that. Size is not the only thing that bullying requires. You need a bit.
But we were saying last year that we were bullying everybody else because of our players. So why is it the Newcastle or the special anomaly that? I'm not going to go at you. I'm just saying I don't know if we should accept the.
But Jordan, that's with all due respect. Like, we can be a physical side and they can be a more physical side. I think it's just the one area that they're better than us in. I mean, you just listed all our players. You know, Trippier, Livramento, Cher, Botman, Byrne, Hall, Guimaraes, Tonali, Joe Linton, Isak, Gordon, Murphy. Like, I've just listed their whole first 11. These are all fit, fast, powerful players. Listen, that's not an excuse. I'm saying, cool, you're not always with the most physical team on the pitch. Be technical. Be better on the ball. We were shocking technically in this game. Saliba, I don't. We've had a lot of amazing things to say about Saliba, but it's not the first time that in knockout football he's looked a little bit nervous under the big lights. I'm just, he's a young player. He's 23, and he's and centre backs I think peak at 29. Like, he's got a long way to go, and I love him to bits. But I think he really struggled with the occasion. Declan Rice and Partey and Odegaard, not for love nor money, could they get control of that midfield. They could barely take decent first touches to get on the ball and play. Completely, we lost everything, every battle in that game against Newcastle. And whatever, I'm not that surprised about it. So I'm a little bit, actually. I thought we'd show more fight, but I didn't think we'd win. So,
James,
yeah.
sorry, Kate. The reason that they couldn't get physical with them because they didn't have the ball. You can get physical with a team when you've got the ball. They can get physical with us because they give us the ball. But when you've not got they didn't really have the ball. What they've done was they just put it into areas, you know what I mean, like on the counter attack. And so all of a sudden, Saliba and Gabriel in particular are not marking a player. They're having to mark the player, but also there's a lot of space in and around them, so they don't know what to do and whatever. But when you've got a player, you're right, you're going up and say like Bruno, for instance, right? They couldn't get close to him and physically with him because what he was doing was just popping the ball off and saying, right, you have the ball. You have the ball. But so when we've got the ball, they could be physical to us. Well, we couldn't be physical to them because they didn't have the ball. It is a tactic that I can't believe that other teams are not doing so much. He has found a formula that beats Arsenal every single time because we can't do what we normally want to do. And Saliba got isolated 4 or 5 times, and he don't know whether to go tight or drop off. In a normal game, it's normal, like we've got people surrounded. But in that game, you've got your 2 fullbacks going on, trying to do something like, you know, and he's completely playing to the way he wanted. He must be sitting there going like loving it. And we've done it every single time. I don't know if you notice it on the bench. They're trying to work out things and all that. Like, you know when the game's is gone and all that. I like to look at Mikel and look at what they're doing. They're scratching their heads. They're looking down at ball. They don't know what to do. He's got us tactically, and that's why we couldn't be physical with them, because if a team's we could be physical with Manchester City because they want the ball as much as us. But this was a team that was prepared to give up every bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 70-75% we had possession. That doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. That's what they allow you to have.
Fine, fair enough. I totally hear all that. I just feel that, you know what, like the damage was done in the first leg.
Yes,
I think if we'd won in the first leg, you know, even if it were 2-2, I don't think we'd have got into this game as desperate to get on the ball and score, and then we would have settled into more of a shape. And then we're asking them, can they break us down? So damage was mainly done in the first leg. I really want to touch on this because I'm actually, shameless plug for my channel, but I'm actually going to do a video on it today about this kind of unprecedented summer and what that means. And I tell you what, and it's like I said earlier in this pod, it's very rare that I normally hear that kind of thing and go, well, let's see what you're about before I judge. But I'm feeling incredibly cynical about it. An unprecedented summer that is going to match the actual needs, not my wants, the actual needs, in my opinion, of Arsenal Football Club going into next season, I honestly think are at a £300 million spend. I'm being deadly serious. I think £300 million on income is not net spend. I don't care if you have to sell a few players to make that happen and buy a few players. I mean, Zinchenko, whatever. I think this squad needs about £300 million worth of investment, which is crazy because, and you said this on the Watch Along Turkish, every time you miss a window, you kick that work to the next one, to the next one. That problem doesn't go away unless you unearth a Waneri or something, which can happen. But largely, you're only kicking that problem down the line and accumulating that cost in the next one. And then in that time, something else has come up. So I was happy to go into this season with Zinchenko as a potential backup left back, Kivior as a left centre back, and that's fine. They now need replacing in this window because they will go in the summer, as will Kieran Tierney because his contract's expired. So we talk about this plethora of left back options. We now need another left back or left centre back. That problem has to be addressed again in this window. Neto came in on loan, and now we're talking about Johan Garcia, who, as far as I'm aware, his release clause hasn't changed from the £22 million it was in the last summer. So all this work we didn't do before is coming in this window. And again, not to sort of spoil my videos, it's coming, but Goalkeeper at about 10, 15 million pounds. You're looking at a left-footed defender to come in, probably. You're looking at Zubimendi, apparently. You're looking at a box-to-box or a creative midfielder. I think it's the creative midfielder type. I've mentioned 4, haven't got to the forward line yet, of which we've got Jesus out. We've got to decide whether Wanneer is a creative midfielder or a forward or not. And Sterling's his loan's gonna end. Is Trossard and Martinelli staying another year? I don't think they are. I think between them, one of them's going to decide, well, my place isn't locked down. I'm rotating in and out. So one of them will probably go. I honestly think it's going to take 300 million. And I know that sounds really hyperbolic headlines. Someone convince me that it's not going to take that, please.
Right, I'm with you. Minimum.
And if that's the unprecedented summer that they want to deliver, I'll say fine. But I'm talking just for player numbers there. The quality better be there too. Because if it's 300 million pounds and the wingers that have come in are, or the forwards that have come in are Sesko and Semenyo. Listen, I like those players. You know, people on Twitter tell me that they're top. I really like Semenyo. But am I convinced that those two like move what's the term? Move the needle? What's the word? Needle mover.
Move the needle.
I think so. I'm not seeing Semenyo and Sesko walking in and going, yeah, title. I'm seeing them and going, yeah, Semenyo's a really exciting winger in the Premier League. Sesko looks a really top prospect. He might grow in the way Isak has, you know, and maybe the way I feel about him now. So I felt about Isak a few years ago, and now I've got egg on my face about that. I don't know, but are you guys? Let me ask you: Semenyo and Sesko come in as part of our 300 million pound war chest. Are you guys going the title?
Sesko's the one that's being, you know, framed to us as, you know, the one that's going to come in, but there's still a lot that he has to learn. Like, if we're being honest, if we're looking for the final piece, it has to be Isak or Gyökeres. It has to be one or the other. That's a final piece striker. Well, it's not. We know this, Lee. But this is where the roundabout comes into effect. Dan Potts got that shoulder roundabout. Why? Because this is a roundabout. You know, you get back to the top only to go for players you could have got here. What, Sesko? Okay, he's a prospect, but he hasn't exactly set the world alight. Good player, could be a great player. But again, we're in a position where, okay, someone going to come in, and while we wait for Sesko to be the guy, what happens to Saliba? Because he's already the guy. And I know he had a mare against Newcastle, not probably the best time to talk about him, but regardless of that mare or not, it's the truth. These men ain't going to wait around for the next guy. Oh, is that going to be the guy there? We're fucking about. The 8, Havertz and Marino. How are you going to bring in 2 8s and it's still crying out for another 8?
Crazy.
A striker department, 500k being spent a week on the striker department, and we ain't got a striker. Make sense of that. So really, if the club was serious, Gyökeres or Isak is the one. Now people will throw Isak out the window straight away. Cool. All I'm gonna say is test the waters. I know Newcastle are a great side. They've had, you know, they've got some, you know, they got the heritage without the trophies. They got a massive fan base and a stadium that bounces week in, week out. But go and have a word with his agent. Go and say, yo, Isak, if we go and put it with him, will you, like, you know, maneuver your elbows around a bit, create some space for us? Let's see if we can do that. Liverpool did that with Van Dijk. They nearly got taken to court for it, but they waited 6 months and got it done. And then since getting it done, look at the way Van Dijk comes off the other day. Probably should have been sent off with the elbow, but he wasn't. But overall, top performance at his age, another one in the bag. Di Saliba and Saka and Odegaard ain't waiting for Sesko to be the guy in 3 years. So if we're serious, Isak and Gyökeres, they're the strikers to go for in the summer because they're the hottest and that's what I want Arsenal to do with the final pieces. Go for the hottest property. Leave no stone unturned.
If I'm Declan Rice, I'm banging on the office door in the summer.
Yeah,
like, and saying like, what's happening here? What are you doing? Show me what you're doing, because this is a guy that could have gone anywhere, right? I'm not so sure about Odegaard, you know what I mean, at this moment in time. His performances, you know what I mean. I think if you put him up for sale, I don't think like for a lot of big money, right? I don't think like there's going to be that many takers. I think if you put Saliba up, there's not many teams can afford him, so it's a big gamble to spend 100 million on a centre half. But this is a guy we spent 100 million on and more, right? And he's come out and said, look, we need backing up here. It hasn't happened. He ain't one of those players that signed for 100 million to wait 2-3 years for it to happen. He's signed to win things now. And this summer, I'm looking at it, and if I'm listen, we're all are we disappointed by January? We are, aren't we? Do you feel let down? Don't you think some of the players must feel that?
Right, Lee, I said this on a fan cam. It was such a crap analogy, but it's not really an analogy. It's actually similar. But did you ever play? We all played Sunday football or whatever, and you might play for a good team or a bad team. How much did you love it when your mate, who you knew was a baller, signed for your team? When I'll join you, I'll play on Sundays, whatever. I don't know. I'd play Sunday morning football. My mate from school, absolute baller. I'd be like, yeah, come join us. And he, I'd been there for 2 years, and he comes to play with us. And, you're doing your car rides with your mum on a Sunday morning to play football. And he felt better about it because you had a really good player playing in your team. And, I always wonder, do pros just get on with it and think, well, I'm paid and I've got my teammates and I want to be playing and whatever? Or do they think how I thought at the age of 14 when I was kicking, a ball in a park, which is I wanted better footballers there and I wanted better players on my team. And I feel like that's innately in everyone at grassroots football to the absolute pros. I think Bukayo Saka goes out there wanting ballers on the pitch with him, and William Saliba and Declan Rice. That's the reason they make these moves to big clubs, to play with these players. So when you're denying them that, I think they're carrying some of that in their performance. And I think, you can be physically tired because you play too much football, but I think you can be mentally like, oh, all right, here we go. Same group again. Let's go, lads. It's been all the signings from the summer on the bench for one of your biggest games. They must be mentally checked out a bit too. And that's not acceptable, because for a cup semi-final, they should be more up for it. But at the same time, I kind of get it as well.
I think it's both. I think football players are innately selfish and think about themselves. I think players think, am I playing? Am I in the team? Yeah. Am I getting the contract I want? I think players generally think about themselves. I think the elite players, the ones you just named, I think those are the ones that want to play with the best players. I think the tier below are just happy to be in the team. They're just thinking, am I in the team? I don't really care about everything else. The elite ones, as you say, your Salibas, your Sakas, your Rices, those guys will be like, I want to play with the best. I want to win trophies. And if I don't feel like I'm in a team of players that can help me win trophies, then I have to look at my future. I've said before that I think whilst it's an important thing to consider, i.e. losing your best players, you can lose your best players whether you're winning or losing. So I think for Arsenal, can't be thinking we've got to make moves now because we've got to keep Saliba. Arsenal should be thinking we've got to make moves because we want to win. We can't be thinking about individual players, because I don't think a business works in that way. I think you got to think we need to make moves because we just want to win. And whoever stays and goes, that can happen. But what we can control is, as a club, are we successful? And the chances are, if you're successful, people will still probably want to stay at your football club. But I've seen teams win things and their best players still leave. So I don't think we should focus too much on we've got to win to keep Saka, to keep Rice. I think we've got to win because we're Arsenal, and we should be winning, is my view. I'm really interested to see. And the striker chat this year, because you mentioned Isak. I think we need Newcastle to not qualify for the Champions League to have any chance of getting Isak. If they don't get Champions League football, I think it becomes a much better, easier sell to him, and I think he might try and make a move within Newcastle to get out of there. They get Champions League football, then I just don't. It's a non-starter in my opinion. But I am keen to see who and how much money they spend on a striker this summer, because the pool ain't great. I'm not convinced on Sesko. Even Gyökeres, I'm a bit nah on the fence with. So I'm really keen to see who they drop that money on in the summer.
It's a gamble, whoever they go for. It's going to be a gamble to spend £300 million this summer, but that's the position they put themselves in. They have to do it. Like Turkish, this isn't even. I know you know this. I don't know why I'm addressing you, but this isn't even like. I don't think this is debatable. We're going to lose Jorginho and Partey in the midfield this summer. Whatever people think of those two players, they've played a lot of minutes for Mikel Arteta, and they've largely played well. Right, those are two very specific profile number 6s. And if we're going to get Zubimendi in, fair play. That's a great sign. It's a great player to add to fill in for those two. But then you're either asking Rice to cover as the 6 every now and again, or you're going to have to sign another 6 after that. I don't think people are. This is a huge summer.
Yeah, they don't understand.
I'm gonna detail this all out in a video and really explain, like, go into the numbers and explain what I mean, because I don't think people are quite understanding. Like, and I saw one report that came out, which was like, Nico Williams is more open to move to the Premier League this summer than he ever has been. All right, whatever, fine. And if Arsenal are to get him in, it might take the sale of someone else to bring him in. And I'm like, so the unprecedented summer is dead before we start.
Yeah, bruv, don't.
Like,
Heard this shit before, mate.
we know that. We know it's going to cost a lot of money to bring in Williams and a striker. It's the position you put. We were, hands up if you were fine going into this season with Trossard and Martinelli just for one more year. I was all right with it. Trossard and Martinelli.
Yeah.
I was right with it. Who's happy going into that next season?
No way.
Exactly.
No, it needs to be proven.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, because what we said on
James,
the watch along is you're right. You don't do enough in one window, it rolls over, and in the meantime, you find out other problems. Inevitable. Every 6 months, you're finding out new issues, right? That's why if you don't do something that you already know about, best believe you're going to need to do that on top of what you find out, which is for this season, we find out Martinelli and Trossard, neither of them want that left wing spot. That's the facts of the matter. But we've had this unprecedented stuff before.
Listen, I'll be fuming if this comes. Like, we have saved ourselves, guys, 50-60 million pound already, right? Because we found we found a Saka backup.
Yeah.
Right. So we've all been going, oh, we've got to get back up for Saka. We found that now in our academy in Wanyeri. For the next couple of years, he can cover that and do other positions, I know, but that's his, whether that was where he stays, that's a different matter. But at this moment in time, that's 50 million saved, right? I get it. If you want to sell a Trossard or a Martinelli to bring in a Nico, I get that. You know what I mean? Because if you're bringing in another left winger, then one of them's going to go, well, I ain't going to be like third choice here. So I get that. That's part of the transfer thing, like, you know. So all of a sudden you sell, I don't know, say you sell Trossard 30 million, right? That's 80 million pounds you've got in. You know, there's no excuses to go, oh, well, I want this and want that, like, you know what I mean? That done. And at the end of the day, what you say about your two midfield players, people are going to come back. That's cost us millions, right? That's their choice. They've decided to let Thomas Partey go out on a free. They could have signed him for another contract and then sold him or whatever. So you've got to replace there. Kieran is also another one now, like, you know, Kieran Tierney, he's another one that's been allowed to go on a free transfer. I don't think you need to replace him because you've got, you know, Miles Skelly now, like, you know, so you've got certain things done. The one thing that we have got to spend big money on, and I mean big money, is the forward area. And I'll tell you why. When was the last time we produced someone up front? When was the last time? We haven't, right? Produced midfield players,
quality.
Produced defenders, yeah, with top quality.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to do, yeah, and we know that, right? I'll go there. So you have to go and invest massive amounts of money in that area. Massive. You've got like a young kid coming through from midfield. I think they're going to buy the Norwegian kid as well, like, aren't they? Like, you know. So there's things you can do in the midfield area to back it up. I get that, like, but not up front. You cannot skinflint up front this season. No more. And there's no excuses no more, like, you know. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'm not having this either. When you go on tour and they're still not there.
Oh, yeah.
Straight away. I'm talking first day open, as Jordan was saying earlier, shirt. Yes, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Not, oh, we're waiting and waiting. I want bang, bang, bang. I want to see results on that transfer window. Because the 2 last transfer windows, we say we spent 5 million and we spent nothing, right? And this is a club that mouthing off to us, telling us we've got to get Champions League football all the time to compete and buy players. We've spent £5 million in the last 2 transfer windows. Actually, 5 million in the last 3, if you go January, summer, January, like, you know what I mean? In the Champions League windows. Disgusting, disgraceful. Money. Either, you know what I mean? This has got to be the summer where, if it isn't, I think, you know, the club and the fans are going to, I'm not saying that they are going to go, because I am. I'm just going to go on how I feel. I'm back. I will go. I will turn my back on this board and the manager, and I won't be giving him the passes that he's had over the last couple of seasons. No.
And he needs to understand that he came in under Wenger. He's a smart man. He saw what happened to Wenger. So as much as I hate when fans say, what do you want him to say? He works for them. No, Arteta's built up enough clout now that if he comes out and says that, and the fans are going to be on his side on it. If he comes out day one of the transfer window failure and says, we failed, guys. We failed. Do you think Kroenke is going to sack him? But he's telling the truth. At the very least, he's saying we failed, or I failed, or we can put it to some sort of failure. Not right profile, right character. Like I said, this dates back to Wenger and a lot of shit he used to say. So don't do that, Mikel. Don't sign a new contract and then be the, you know, say all the, you don't build up all of this clout, yeah, with the fan base. You don't build all of that and then go and side with them, because that will be the downfall of him.
Turkish, I'm sorry. He does not come out of this window scot-free. He doesn't come out of this clean, because I don't care what anybody says, right? Right, you might not be able to get the player that you want and the money and everything. Like, you know, if it is a centre forward and they can't get, the club have got the money, prevent them not do it. Like, then you're right. Well, what can we get now? You know, but there's free transfers out there at this moment in time. Why aren't they going for one of them? Just to give you a number. We haven't got no one, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like Martinelli's down for 3 or 4 weeks now. Like, you know, Arteta is not coming out of this squeaky clean, in my opinion. He is part of it as well. He has allowed the board, or he's allowed, or himself, I don't want this. And you don't think they've not offered him players to take in this window? And he's gone, no, I don't know. But he may well have done. So for me, none of them will come out of this squeaky clean, and none of them deserve free passes at this football club anymore. That is it now. Like, you know, Mikel, you are under the pump. Let's see what you do now. As Jordan says, you know, go to the end of the season. But I tell you that if he doesn't go to the end of the season, it all crumbles down and all that. Like, there's going to be fans wanting him out now. Get a load of money next season and fail again. He should be gone, because at the end of the day, the trophies that we are not even competing with are the ones that we don't really, you know, they're the ones that, at the end of the day, the Holy Grail is the Champions League and Premier League. That's the ones. We're nowhere near them. Nowhere
near them, no. And it's a shame. We're talking about next season already. And I said to myself, I wouldn't do this. But this is what Arsenal do. Sorry, James.
No. So that was my fault. I was interrupting you, but I just listened to this list of potential exits. Some of them are in. I've just been writing them down. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Oh, right, yeah, fine. Big up Jordan, by the way.
Bless he's actually right. Someone was late, you know.
Does Jordan get a dock point though for leaving early?
Yeah, it's better out of order, isn't it? Though, you know.
I'll dock him the point.
Yeah. No shame.
I'm still here,
Jordan. Are you still here?
I went for 2 seconds to go and put my top on. I'm listening intently, and you snakes. Listen, Turkish is I'm out of here. It's a protest. I'm out of
it. I said big up.
He's gone. Do we dock him a point then or not? Because you leave it early.
Definitely not. I like Jordan.
Yeah. Are you ready for this list? It's bigger than I realised.
Go on.
Neto, Hine, Tierney, Tavares, Kivior, Zinchenko, Partey, Jorginho, Vieira, Nelson, Sterling, Trossard. 12 players there, I think, are likely to exit the club. And you could chuck in a 13th in there because Gabriel Jesus isn't back till January. So he's not a part of the squad till, halfway through next season. So that is a colossal amount of outgoings. Do people think this window is all about signing one striker, maybe another forward, maybe one extra backup keeper? There is a stupid amount of work to do. Whatever you think of those players, you've got Heine Neto going, so goalkeeper. Tierney, Tavares, Kivior, Zinchenko are all left-sided defenders. We're going to need at least one coming in, which is crazy because we sign one every 2 months, it feels. Jorginho Partey means we need something else in the way of an all-round, slightly more defensive-minded midfielder. Vieira going because, listen, if we didn't want to keep him on, for this season, then he's going to go, quite frankly. Oh, my internet's going. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. You're all good, bro.
No, my internet's having a nightmare.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, I'm good. All right, thank you. Vieira going, means we need some sort of creative profile in there. And Nelson, Sterling, Trossard are all forwards plus Jesus.
That's a lot of work to do.
Stupid
Tommy
amounts of
Asu, I
work
think,
to
has got to
do.
be mentioned in that as well, James.
Tomiyasu, yeah.
So do you know why I didn't put Tomiyasu in there? And this is very hopeful thinking. Remember how Partey last season was injured basically the whole campaign, but they gave him all the time he needed, and he's basically been completely fit this season. I'm giving Tomiyasu, only because of his talent, 1 more year. I think with Tommy, I think he's so good when he is fit and at his best. I think they're just getting him through whatever he needs to get through now, and maybe he'll be. I think he's got 1 more year, and I think he's good cover at centre back. And I don't know how much we've got of that, but or you sell Tomiyasu and you keep Kivior, but Kivior's going to command a fee. Kivior you'll get 15 million for, because he's actually done all right, and teams in Serie A like him, and he's still quite young. Tomiyasu is so injury prone. I don't see you getting a good fee for him. But you could put Tomiyasu in that list.
Yeah, I've given up on that guy. Can't lie. I know. Can't rely on him. But I mean, the list you've put out is evidence in itself that we're not. What did I say the other day? How can I know in February that we're going into 25-26 season light? How do I know this already? Because the club have basically told you by what they haven't done. There is no chance we go into next season with the same feeling we did go into the season before when we signed Rice and Havertz and Timber. There's no way we go into next season like that, because I'm using that season because it's the only season in the Emirates era we've looked at and we've really felt, okay, we're ready for this season coming ahead. The only summer. So get ready for another summer where we're going to be short, but they can caveat this with the right signings. Some bullshit last year about the numbers are down, but the quality is up. That's actually what needs to happen this summer, because the numbers are going to be down. The quality must be up, because if we don't sort shit out, Man City are a Musiala or Verts away from getting above us again and then dominating for a few more years again. Liverpool, okay, it's up in the air with their key players, but let's say Van Dijk and Salah decide to stay and Trent goes, they've still got 2 world-class players there that we'd look at in still in awe, because we don't have that. So there's a hell of a lot of work to do. It's a shame, because how can this be in phase 5, 6? How can this be 8 years, 7 years after be excited? Time's just flying like this. Time's just flying.
We should be dominating it by in the next few weeks, years. Like this season, we should have been better than what we have. Next season, I don't care what anybody says. Liverpool, they might hold on to their 2 guys, but they're in the over the mid 33, 34 now, definitely like early 30s. It's got to be replaced at some stage. You don't replace that, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get no one better than Salah. You know what I mean? You don't replace that, and you don't replace a Van Dijk, because where are those guys? They're not about. So there's going to be a drop off in Liverpool, whatever happens. Like, you know what I mean? That's the case scenario. As Manchester City are building as they have, it still might take them another year or whatever, and you don't know what's coming with the charges and whatever. Man United have got a long, long way to go. Newcastle, you don't know with that. The team that's building, Aston Villa are building, but I think that they're still away with it. This Arsenal is a window of opportunity to win 2 or 3 titles, and it's been like, I think at the end of the day now, messed up because we've skinflinted to try, gambled. Let's put the word out there. We've gambled on the fitness of players and gambled on this and gambled on that, and the end of the day, I think everybody's going to come down and be blamed for this now. I've certainly lost a lot of faith in the manager over this last month, and also the board, because I do now question their ambition to win it. I think if you want to get top four every time and all that, yeah, you can be happy, because we are a top four side now. Going back 3 or 4 years ago, we wasn't a top four side. We are now. But do you want to kick on and be the elite? And I don't think Arsenal do.
No, man. They don't want to.
I don't think they do. And I think if they did, they would have done a lot more in this transfer window than what they've done.
We'd have seen it already. That's
yeah, I think you would, I really do. I think there's a chance of winning the league still this season, because there's nothing in this to say that Liverpool don't get a couple of injuries. They could capitulate a little bit like they did last season. No one knows. Yeah. But we ain't got the tools to go on. We haven't.
You know what it is? You said, sorry, James, I'll let you go after. You said, them players will go, but what Liverpool are doing this season, essentially, if them players go, Konate is going to be a Premier League winner, Gakpo is going to be a Premier League winner, Diaz is going to be, they're going to have Premier League winners across the pitch again, regardless of what happens to Salah and Van Dijk, because they've managed to blend in that, the old guard with what is to be the new guard. And it looks like they're pulling not just one trophy out of the bag this season. They might pull a hell of a lot more. So we'll see how that goes. But James, go on.
Sorry, my internet's a nightmare. My internet's having an absolute shocker. So if you can hear me, carry on.
We can hear you. Go
on. No, he said just carry on. Well, carry on we will. I'm gonna bring in Jordan's camera just for this bit, because I'm bringing up the prediction table just so it fits nicely on the screen. There we go. I've taken 2 points off. Here it is. Sorry, I've taken 2 points off. Am I still?
Can you guys?
Am I shameless?
I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, only 2's a bit shameless, but we'll allow it.
Well, freeze for the whole 60, innit? So.
Oh yeah, fine. All right, fair enough. Well,
Lee,
you can take him to court if you have to.
Just he's just like
117 charges. Fuck it, that's going on the next table.
Yeah, right.
Lee, to be honest with you, you're fighting for who pays double right now. So at the end of the day, tooth and nail at the bottom.
We're gone anyway, and you know what I mean. So
yeah, I might fucking miss a couple more shows.
Yeah, I might do the same.
Jordan and James just here one morning.
Yeah, just the two of us slogging it out for the world's worst ever Arsenal title win. Oh well.
That's the table, people. Audio listeners, Jordan's top on 37, James is on 35, Lee's on 27, I'm now on 26. No one got the Newcastle win predicted, but obviously there's a change because of lateness, and that puts me bottom. Back on screen now, normal template. I know we kind of, I'm late and Jordan's had to go, so we haven't got comments of the day prepared, I believe. I've got a comment of the day prepared, actually. So
yeah, the good one. Go on, go for it.
You had a good one.
No, you had a good one from the watch along, didn't you?
Ah, yes. So you've just reminded me. I had the one from the watch along. Mate. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see.
There's a super chat. I don't know if you screenshot it or saved it.
Yeah, Kanar says, "Clap for Jordan, forever Arsenal." Without the grumpy old guy.
Who's that then?
They called you that.
I'll say what. I had a super chat for that.
Yeah, they called you that on the watch along. They said forever Arsenal without the old grumpy guy. I looked around.
I'll have you wherever you are. I'll have you wherever you are.
Grumpy. Yeah, but that's the comment of the day from me anyway.
I'm not grumpy.
No, I thought they were talking about me. I said I'm here, but it's obvious. Yeah, you. But we move, and on that
we move.
James' connections having a Mazza. Lee, don't worry about comment of the day. The show's great. thumbs up, hit the like button. That's your comment of the day. And to
Thank
the
you.
community, to the community, hit that like button. We are live on Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Tuesday. We are live Forever Arsenal. Me, Lee, James, Jordan, as usual. So make sure you're there. We'll see where we're at. Actually, you know what? Now I think about it, Liverpool play Everton on Wednesday. Maybe it was better to do it after that. But it's booked in Tuesday, 7 p.m. We'll see how it goes, people.
Yeah, probably better to do it on after that, isn't it?
Wishful thinking as well, though, because we wait till after Liverpool smoked them, and really we just waited for nothing.
I mean, we're so bloody shameless, aren't we? We're shit. Liverpool are demolishing everyone,
and we're
Let's
waiting
just
for their
wait to see
games.
what happens after Everton? But you know what? Why not? Because I mean, it is Thursday the 13th, night before Valentine's Day. Why not?
On that note, night before Valentine's Day, don't forget, people, get your emails in. Ty and Julian will be taking your, dating problems, dating queries, whatever it is, valentines@aftv.co.uk. Send it through to there and take part. No.
What?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a joke.
Up.
They told me to put it on the screen, so it might be a joke. Maybe I'm the joke, but
yeah, I think that's April Fool's Day, isn't it? Like,
I don't think it's a joke. Look,
Valentine's, your questions for them too.
Yeah, send in your questions, your queries, your problems, and they will
resolve them. Will they?
Well, I was about to say fix it, thinking about a different word, but yeah, I don't know about they resolve it, people, but it should be funny, to say the least. It should be funny.
Yeah.
And what day is that? What day is that? Actually on Valentine's.
I don't know. I think the video comes out Valentine's Day. I don't know when they're going to do the content though. We're well prepared anyway. Lee, you're live at 7 Invincible Podcast today with Robbie and Julian, I think. And people, just make sure you're subscribed. Put a notification bell on. Apologies, it wasn't longer than it is. But look, we've touched an hour and there's not even a preview to do. So we'll be back on Tuesday. Make sure you're back too. Love for the love as always. Hit the like button. Peace. We're out.